for you right now?
I got the Zoom recording started.
So, okay, so I've lost my train of thought here. Um, so again, experiences happen because of where your soul is, all right? Your soul, wherever it is, it's attracting those situations to you so it can grow, all right? You already came into this life knowing that there are certain things you want to learn and overcome, right? That's the point of living. It's that we can all grow, we can learn lessons. And if there are certain situations that are repeating, it's not to hurt you, it's not to break you down, it's to build you up. So that's like another thing, I hope that people can take away that whenever things are repeatedly coming up, or not even repeatedly, like all of a sudden something comes up and like turns your life all around, just think of it as this is helping me to be who I'm supposed to be. So again, what in 2020, the straw on the camel's back for me was my partner finally left me, like after a 10-year situationship and 2 kids. And I remember just sitting down, like being so confused, like I never saw it coming. And I was so confused and I was so upset. And it took me so long to come to terms with like, this really happened. And now looking back on it, I can see like, thank God that happened. But I'm so grateful for the things that have happened. So I know that a lot of people go through these things too. I mean, it doesn't have to be a relationship. It can be a loss of a job, or a relationship you don't have or you wish you had with your parent. There's so many things that we go through that just break our hearts. But if we can kind of take what has happened and see, well, I can see that this is helping me to do something else, right? If you can kind of sit for a minute and like journal, like, what have you done after that point? How did that affect you? How did that change how you think, how you act, how you behave? You can use that and you can see that, oh, that was actually there to help me. And I think, if we can all start thinking about the things that hurt us as things that are here to like help us and move us up, I think that'd be great.
Can I ask a
All right.
question?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I think what you're saying is great. I think it makes a lot of sense. I guess my question is, what if you are keep repeating patterns, but you know that you have to make some change so the patterns won't repeat, but you're really not ready to make those changes because they require things that you don't have in place yet. So how does doing this soul blueprint or this records help you when the journaling and everything else, you realize you have to make changes. You even know what those changes are, but you're not, maybe you're not financially ready, or maybe you're not emotionally ready to be by yourself to do something new. So how does doing these records and knowing that, how does that help you when you're not ready to change the patterns, even though you want?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that was something I wanted to bring up also, that the Akashic Records will give you all the information you need, but information doesn't equate to like courage. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't, just because I know what I have to do doesn't mean that all of a sudden it's so easy and I'm doing it, right? Like I don't have an example off the top of my head right now, but so that, okay, so there's like, I want to say like 3 steps to life, right? First you have to become aware and then you get the knowledge, right? So first you become aware there is a problem, right? And then you go into the records and you're like, oh, this is the answer, right? And then in the third step there's like the actual action, right? And we are always, I think just because we're human, we're always going to have fear and we're never going to know the future. Like we're not, you know what I mean? Like we're not, I mean, maybe some people are like psychics, like I don't know, but we don't know the future, but once you have the information, it's out of the record's hands, like the records themselves won't change your life. Only you can change your life. And you have to find the courage to move through the fear, to move through the unknown, to create the changes that you need. So thinking about myself, I mean, after 2020, like I said, my life fell apart. I was miserable. I was really unhappy. And I wanted to move out of New York City. And I've said this story a lot. So, but I wanted to leave New York City. It was too expensive. I didn't want to do it anymore. like as a new like single mom, like truly single. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to live with my family. I don't want to deal with, you know, any of this stuff anymore. I don't want to be a teacher. Like all this sucks, right? So I just started thinking like, if I'm not going to live in New York, where am I going to go? And I started making maps and learning about astrology and just kind of like feeling it out, right? And I ended up moving. So I moved over the summer of 2021. So in 2020, I did the school year. And when the school year ended, I left in August. So like I didn't have a job lined up. I didn't have a house lined up. I just had faith that it was going to work out. And I really believed it. And it did. Like within a few days, I think it was actually the day before I left or the day I landed, I got my apartment. And the day after I landed, I had an interview and I got a job. Like it just happened that quickly. And I think also the other thing to know that I know the unknown is really scary. But when you throw yourself like in faith and belief of yourself into the unknown, the universe will always catch you. Always. If it's something that's meant for you, if you feel it in your heart, like this is it, this is it, this is where what I have to do, where I have to go, or whatever, the universe will make everything work. And I'm telling you, as a single mom, I moved with no job, no housing, and then I had housing and a job, and everything just kept right on going, and everything was fine. So I think, you know, it's really easy to say, you know, like, oh, just move through the fear. But I can tell you, like, I did it myself, and it's scary. It's really scary. I mean, I was a single mom with two kids with special needs. And I was just like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I just really had a lot of faith. And I know that's not so easy for other people. But if you can at least listen to my story, I hope that someone out there will think, like, you know what, this is right. You know, like this, I can't live in this situation, or I can't deal with whatever's happening anymore, and I need to change. And they just find that inner courage, like this feels right. This feels what I'm supposed to be doing. And you just make the change.
Yeah, I think that's really good because I can think like a negative situation could be you're in an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
If that partner is the one who pays most of your bills and you
Yep.
have no money to go. But I also can think of positive, like you have what they call the platinum handcuff job. You have a job that pays for everything and it provides for your
Mm,
family better. And if you leave, you're not going to have that platinum lifestyle. Yet
yep.
staying in that platinum lifestyle is making you an alcoholic or is making you never see your family. And so I think what you're saying is like it's really hard sometimes to trust
Yeah.
because the known sometimes, as horrible as it feels to you, can feel better than the unknown. So I think that that is true. You need to really trust the universe. And I am for one really taken by your story. And so what will, when you do these like what's the word again?
Akashic.
Akashic records, um, what can you expect if you're feeling whether you have a great job or you have a horrible relationship, but either way, you want to get something different and you're making um, you know you want to move, but you're not have the courage or you don't know how to do it. How does that Akashic records help you get more clarity as to how to move forward, or does it not do that? It just gives you that you have to move forward.
So the Akashic records, they kind of work like sometimes you can get really direct answers, and sometimes they'll just ask you questions back. Because the thing is, like everything in the records is the information of your soul, and you are your soul. So you have all this information already inside of you. So, for example, I knew that I had to move and I would ask about moving. And my one question is, where should I go? I had three different states, right? I was like Arizona, Wisconsin, or Washington. I don't know, you know, it sounded nice to me. And I was like, where should I go? And they were just like, you'll figure it out. And I'm like, what? Like, but where? Where am I going to get a job? So I did a lot of research about like cost of living, education, you know, like what schools are around, what jobs, how much do teacher jobs pay, stuff like that. And I had to make my own decision. So for that, like for that specific question, I just never got an answer. Like, where should I go? Never got an answer. But for the question, should I move? It was, oh yeah, of course you need to move. What do you mean, Larissa? So you have to be open. So I'm gonna jump into the 4 intentions, and that'll kind of touch on that also. So I guess I'll just jump into these 4 intentions, and pretty soon we'll jump into our meditation. So again, the Akashic Records is an energetic space. It holds all information of your soul, and you can access it at any time. And there are, this is just what I wrote. I mean, there are lots of books and resources and videos out there. So a lot of people will say different things, but these are the 4 intentions that I think are the most important when you're accessing the records. So the first one is to believe. You have to believe in yourself, and the unfolding of stepping into the records. If you don't, okay, because the records is not like a school, right? You're not going to go into a classroom and sit and talk to a teacher. There's no person there who's going to confirm information for you. There's no textbook, there's nothing written down. There's no confirmation. No one's going to say, "Oh, Larissa, you did so great. Look at you. That was right." So, in order to really integrate and accept what's coming through in the records, you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in your ability to access the information, and you have to believe in what's coming through for you. All right. And number 2 is to trust. You have to trust in any information that comes through. And this kind of goes hand in hand with, even before you go into the records, you should be very clear on how you receive information, right? We talk about like the clear senses, right? Like, do you hear information? Do you know information? Are you a visual person? Are you an auditory person? So you can figure that out by, like, if you ever do channeled writing, like journaling, you can just see, like, okay, as you're writing, as you're getting information, how is this coming through to you? Is it something you just know? Is it something you hear? Are you envisioning something? Or if you do meditations, and I didn't know this, but I didn't know that a lot of people have or not problems, just it isn't as easy for some people to do like visual meditations because they can't like visualize. So if you're doing a meditation and it's saying like you're in a meadow and you see ants and you don't see that, then you're not a visual person. So you're not going to go to the records expecting to see something, right? Because you already know, you're clear, you trust yourself, and you know how you receive information. Okay, so I would suggest, before you do any Akashic Records work, to get clear on how you receive information. So do some, try these YouTube meditations. I have some on my page, or channeled writing, however you receive information. All right, and then you have to release expectations. So this is a big one also. So a lot of times or I don't know about but me, when I used to, in the beginning, when I did like meditations, I would be like, okay, someone's gonna like talk to me and give me all this information and stuff. But it doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes you set an intention, right? And it just kind of floats away from you. So you just have to release expectation that you're going to get an answer, like a conversation. Like, you'll say a question and you'll get an answer. Because it's like universal and it's like energy, you have to know that you are putting out an expectation, and the information will come to you in divine timing exactly as you need it. All right. So it's like, don't get frustrated if you're like, I did this meditation and nothing happened. Like, no, just know you did the work. You showed up, you did your part. And now you just have to wait, be open to receiving. That's it. The moment you get frustrated, you kind of like shut the door on whatever you're meant to receive. And again, if you're not clear on how you receive things, or if one of your senses is kind of awakening, so maybe you're a very visual person, right? But now they want you to work on like your smelling, your sense of smell, right? So maybe your grandma's around you and they're sending you a whiff of their perfume, right? And you're sitting there like, I feel like I smell my grandma's perfume. This is so annoying. I'm trying to get information, but you're like missing it. So release expectations and just be open. Like, once you put out the intention, be open for however it's going to come back to you. All right. And the last one, number 4, is you have to have a clear intention. Okay. You have to go into the records like, knowing exactly what you want. So, oops. So, take some time. I mean, what I do is I like to write down questions and kind of like stack them up, like, so if a question pops in my head, I won't go into the records, I'll write it down. And then once I have like 4 questions, maybe it's a couple days later, I have a couple more, then I'll do a session for myself. Um, I mean, but you don't have to do that. You can do whatever you want. If you have a question, you just want to go in, that's cool. But the real big thing is you have to have a clear intention. For me, it really works to write my question or my thought or my wondering down so I can actually look at it and be like, this is the thing I need. Because once you do like, however you get into the records, like I used to do this I'm thinking the word is meditation, but it's not ritual, right? I learned this ritual from a book of you have to do this and this and this. I don't do that anymore. But once you do that and you're in, I always feel like my brain kind of just empties out. There's nothing in there. So if I don't have anything written down, then I just won't remember. And I'll be like, hello, record keeper, like, how are you? And they'll be like, Larissa, what do you want? I'm like, I don't know, I forgot. Okay, so those are the 4 intentions. So you have to believe in yourself, trust in what comes through, release expectations of what might happen or how you get your information. And you have to have a clear intention. Why are you going to the records? What do you want to know? And that's it. So
Can I ask
I'll
a
also,
couple of questions before we do the meditation? So if we
yeah,
wanted
go
to
for
do
it.
a session with you, and we write down some questions or we know the intention of what we want, how long is a session? And of course, life is always changing. One minute we have the problem of where should we move? Then we have the problem is like what job? And then we have, so for each session, does it resolve one issue for you and you just wait for it to reveal itself? Or if that session doesn't reveal the answer that you want a few days later or a month later, do you come back for another session? How does it work, if you don't mind?
Yeah. Well, I have 2 different sessions that I do. So for the Akashic Records session, you would just submit like 3 to 5 questions, and then I would open the records for you, get the answers, and then send it back to you like in an email report, right? So that's like pretty cut and dry. It's 3 to 5 questions about anything, if it's about a relationship, a career, moving, your personal life, anything at all, 3 to 5 questions, and you'll get it back within a couple days. But I also have a soul blueprint session, which is live and it goes a lot deeper. And you can touch as many topics in your life as you want. That's a live 90-minute session. And I might do Akashic Records. It's really intuitively guided, like what I do in that session. Because what I'm doing is tapping into your soul and the reason why you're having this life. And I also receive channeled guidance. So I give you channeled guidance, next steps. We do spiritual healing modalities. So I might do like oracle cards, Reiki. I might do tapping, Akashic Records reading. It's just whatever I feel like doing, whatever feels necessary in the moment. And it's always guided by like I wouldn't even say like it's guided by your spirit team, like whoever's with me, like they kind of like tell me what to do and how to move. So there are 2 different options, either live or you submit your questions. So good question.
Okay, just one more question, if you don't mind, before you do your meditation, which I'm looking forward to. Thank you so much. Can you just like give 1 or 2 examples of people who have come to you and any breakthroughs they've had and any maybe follow-up, blessing you, feeling grateful that they came to you, or some kind of like experience that they didn't expect? I mean, they went because they were hoping, but they follow up with some kind of like, dear Larissa, thank you so much. Do you have like 1 or 2 stories you can share about some exceptional experiences people have had by doing this?
Yeah. One that comes to mind was the very first one that I've done. And I remember I was really like, I wasn't sure what was going to come up. I know she gave me like, she didn't even give me general questions. So for every soul blueprint session, I just asked for like your birth information because I love to pull up astrology charts too. I forgot to say that. I love astrology. And so I pulled it up and I took a look at it. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I'll see her. And I love this so much. She said that she was telling me like all the frustrations that she had in her life and where she was and blah, blah, blah. And she told me that her dream life would be to be like a housewife who doesn't work, right? She was like, that's my dream life. If I could just stop working, have a nice husband, and live really rich. Like I'm talking about an amazing sofa and I just lay on it, and have my fancy snacks, not regular snacks, like fancy ones and glass bowls and stuff. And I was looking at her chart and I was like, in your chart, that's what it literally says. So it just reminds me that I'm getting so excited. I'm sorry. All right. We all have a soul destiny. Like we all have a reason why we're in this life. We all have something we want to experience. And whatever you desire is your soul's desire. It's not like random. It's not like silly. Whatever you desire in life, it's your soul that's like, hey, I want to do this. Hey, I came here to do this. So we talked for a long time. It was a really long session and it was incredible. And I was just pointing out like this and this, and she had all these messages. And I was like, you have to do this. You just have to start daydreaming because your thoughts, I'm getting really excited. Let me slow it down. Your thoughts create your reality, right? So she was a really logical person. So I was like, you have to start daydreaming and people watching, like start looking at the people around you. What does your husband look like? What are his interests, and start looking for them, and if you see someone, some guy doing that thing, and he looks good, go talk to him, go find your husband, so so anyways, that's super exciting for me. So that's really important. I'm so glad that came up. Anything you desire, this goes for all of us, anything in your life that you feel really pulled toward. And in society, we have a way of telling people their dreams are silly or they're stupid or why would you like that or think that. Your soul is not silly. Like literally, that's why you're here. If you feel some kind of pull to do something or experience something or be somewhere, your soul meant to do that in this life. So I hope that people can kind of like move through fear, move through whatever they have to so that they can create that life that you came here to live.
If you don't mind, just one more question. Everything you say
Yeah.
makes me think of another thing. So my friend died because of COVID, right? Early in the COVID thing. And it compelled me to write a book with all the things you need to think about should someone pass away, so that you have all the information, so that when you die, if it's unexpected, because you're not 80 or 90, but you're like 40 and you have children and I was like, felt like that was my mission in life, to share the things that you need to think about so that your family is taken care of. And even if you don't have a family, we always have one person who would like to know something about us and to record. But now it's like, past COVID, and I did sell my book and people like it, but my mission has changed. Is it because I wrote the book? It didn't become a bestseller. Lawyers use it now and stuff, but why does our mission change? Why did that energy that we have, that compassion that pushes us to do something? So I guess what I'm saying is, do we have more than one mission in life, even though we feel like we're here for one purpose? And I'm sorry I'm asking all these questions, but you get me thinking, so I thank you.
No, it's cool. This is such a good question. So I was just like learning / listening to this. But our soul is like an onion, right? Like, just like, I mean, if you think about, okay, if I think about my own spiritual journey, right? There are certain things that you learn right away, right? And then as you grow, as you do more, experience more, you get to like peel the onion and you get to get deeper into certain things. So yes, you can start off somewhere, but it's really like a road. You know what I mean? Like you're at one signpost and you're like, oh my God, this feels so good. This feels right. And then you keep walking, there's a next signpost and it's like, whoa, this feels so good. And if you think about like, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but if you think about like alternate realities and stuff, right? Like we always come to these crossroads where we can make a choice, right? Where you can explore the desire or you don't explore the desire, right? And the more you just like, the more I'm getting so excited. The more you explore the desires, the more your soul opens up, the more you have access to those onion layers of all the goodness that you came here to like do and be and become. So that's another thing, you know, I hope people can fight through the fear and just let their soul start blooming like the onion, you know, like start really exploring and doing the things you like, and you'll have access and you'll grow so much more, and your life will end up so much more beautiful, you know, when you start doing these things that feel really scary or feel maybe they feel silly or odd or whatever.
Well, I just
Great
want to
question.
thank you for this session because I was always a little hesitant about doing these kind of things because I felt like maybe we're not supposed to know. We're supposed to just let life reveal itself as it does. But when you share all these things, I'm like, so what's the biggest fear about knowing? Maybe it'll actually make us not necessarily happier, but more complete with our mission. So I just
Yeah.
want to say thank you. And I appreciate you answering all my questions. I know I asked a lot, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
I love that so much. That's so nice. That's so nice. That felt really nice in my heart. That was nice. Okay. So I know I see Abina here. Yeah. Yes.
No, I didn't want you to feel that you were rushed. You know,
Okay.
we definitely have time because kind of scrolling here. Where can one find the Akashic Records? And I know you mentioned before anyone can access them. So how would you even go about doing that? Do you need someone to always do them for you?
No, not at all. If you do a search, there are lots of books. I have books, but you know, they're kind of like over there. So when I first learned, about the Akashic Records, I got a reading on Etsy. Like if you do a search on Etsy, there's so many people like who do Akashic Record readings. But if you go on Etsy, the woman that I love, her name is Nina at Akashic Astrology. She is incredible. But I got some readings with her, and then it really opened me up to like, wow, like what she's doing is like amazing. So then I just started buying books. So I think if you're really interested, one really good book is Linda Howe, The Akashic Records. Linda Howe. Oops. It's like an orange book. It's over there, but I can't reach it, so sorry. But Linda Howe is her name, and I got a bunch of books, and that's the only one that I could connect with, and it walks you through the whole process. So like I said in the beginning, I was doing this. It's not like a ritual, but it's like there's like certain steps you have to take, and it's like a slow process, right? And it takes like 30 days or 90 days or something like that. And I went through this whole process, and it's like little by little, you do a little more in the records. So like you'll go in and you'll ask a question, you'll go in and you'll do a reading for another person, you'll go in and you'll meet an ancestor. It's like it builds up what you're able to do. Um, and that book is amazing. But I also wanted to say, sorry, one more just quick thought is we all like have this power to access the Akashic Records, right? So you can get a book and that could help you feel comfortable and confident. But just know you don't even need a book. Like you can, because your soul exists as an energy, you can just access this information. So if you do, like I have free YouTube meditations. If you trust yourself enough to do that and know that that information is coming through, you can do that. Oh no, okay, it's fine. Or you can get books. I really like books to start with, but you know, don't lean on that. That's my point. Don't lean on anyone else's information. Just know that because of the tree of life, right? Your soul is part of God. You are a creator and you can do anything. You can do anything. What I do is not special. You can do everything I do and then some, you know? So yeah. Was there another question?
So, you, how do you describe the work that you do with your soul destiny? Can you kind of dive into that some more? Like, can everyone discover their soul destiny, or what I personally feel is that like we get a glimpse of our soul destiny. Can you expand on that?
Yes, that's so exciting for me. Okay, so just like I said earlier, the soul is kind of like an onion, right? And just like when you go into the Akashic Records, whatever is coming up is what you can handle or what is meant to come up right now, right? So I remember like early in my journey, I had gotten a message about my destiny, right? And then I kept on going on the journey. And then I was like, that's not my destiny. Like, why would they lie to me? And then, like this year, so it's like your journey changes and changes and changes. And then sometimes you end up right back where you started. Okay, I just went off topic, but that was really exciting. Okay, soul destinies. So we have a soul destiny, right? But our soul destiny is not just one thing, it's just everything our soul wants to accomplish in this life. And some of the things that it wants to accomplish are just healing, like we want to heal. And what I said earlier, the story that I shared about feeling really separate and alone, I have noticed this theme in every single soul blueprint session that I've ever given. We all feel this way. And I feel like this is also kind of part of society, you know, like how this shift that society is going through, like we're moving away. If we think about like the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, like how our parents and grandparents were raised, we have these, what is that called? It doesn't matter, you know, that word nuclear, there you go, nuclear families and everyone's really close and stuff. But now, you know, we think about like the Bronx is burning, right? The 70s, and families are getting broken up. And now like we're kind of like part of that, right? These broken families. Everyone is like, also religion is changing. People aren't really, my point is, I have noticed that a lot of people feel very separate and alone. And I think it's on purpose, just like my part of my destiny is to really create, like be myself, be independent, to discover myself, discover my gifts, blah, blah, blah. I think everyone has that same kind of destiny, right? In your own way, right? I mentioned earlier that other person that I worked with, that her destiny was to be like a really rich, a housewife, not a mom, a housewife. But what's my point here? I just went off on a tangent. It's so exciting. Anyways, everyone has lots of destinies. And even if you have one reading now and then you do the work, your life is always changing, right? So just like I said with like the paths, right? If you come to a decision, you can either go with the desire or ignore the desire, right? And if you choose to do the desire, then you're going to have more desires, more pieces of your soul that come up to be expressed. And if you choose not to do the desire, then you're going to keep moving down this way and other things will happen. So no matter which way you go, however you live life, there's always going to be more to discover about yourself. All right. And just because you know your soul destiny, it's your soul destiny in this moment. This is what your soul wants to do right now. This is the destiny. These are the next steps. But in 1 year, will it be the same steps? Hopefully not. I mean, hopefully you did that work and you're ready for the next thing.
That was brilliant. I thought that was brilliant. I love it. That was really wonderful. Thank you. I'm so happy I tuned in.
Yeah.
So you would say that it is that we do get the glimpse of it, because sometimes you can feel like, okay, I'm going to do this. This is my trajectory, but then you kind of always get pushed back to something else.
I mean, it's not that you're getting pushed. I mean, life definitely does push and challenge you. But again, when we think about the things that happen to us, if we can just think of it as this is like a step up, to become more of myself. Every difficult situation is a step up. So yeah, things might happen, but how do you handle what happens? And that's the thing about life and about souls too. It's not really about the people you're dealing with. It's not really about the situations that come up. It's about how you stand up and allow yourself to shine through. Like every situation, every experience, every weird, person, whatever. Like, how do you allow yourself to shine through every single moment?
Okay, so what other work do you do? I know your bio was quite extensive. Can you share some of the other things that you do?
Yeah. So I am a soul guide, right? So my big thing is, helping people understand their soul destiny and their next steps. So I didn't know this. One of my gifts is my hearing. I can hear everything, and um, I can hear everything. Like when people are talking to me, I just okay, side note, this is completely unrelated. I remember when I was growing up, my family, I think about this. Okay, I won't go off. But we used to watch like America's what is that? The Fugitive show, America's Most Wanted? No, I don't know.
Yeah,
But
America's
those
Most Wanted.
Thank you. And the other one, Unsolved Mysteries. We used to watch those, like, I don't know why, but I remember there were a few episodes about like body language and like the police would like, if they see this, then they know this, like how, and then handwriting, like, so I don't know if I absorbed those things or something, but I hear everything, everything. And so that's part of what I do. Like, I can hear when people are talking to me. It's like, I just hear things like I can't describe it. I just hear as you're talking. And that's why like every soul destiny session is guided like from your spirit guides, like not mine. They're chilling with me, like your people, they guide the session. I get lots, so I also hear messages, so I can share messages at that time. And the message, oh my God, some messages, wow, they're super deep. But anyways, um, I hear as you're talking, I can hear points of tension. Like I can hear it, like, oh, I can hear like you don't really want to expound on that. You don't really want to open yourself up to that, but I hear that's a really big problem right there, right? Um, so anyways, I just use my super hearing all the time. So yeah, soul destiny sessions. I do read tarot and oracle cards. So everything that I've learned, I did it for myself. So like I said, 2020, my whole life fell apart and I was extremely depressed. Like I couldn't stand anything about my life, about the people in my life, about where I lived, anything. I was so depressed that I just started looking for anything just to grab onto to understand my life, because it's like all of a sudden you open your eyes and you're like, what the heck is this? What is this crap life? So I got into, I was always into astrology, but I got really deep into astrology. So that's number one for me. Looking at transits and progressions, stuff like that, like to understand where we are in our journey right now, right? And how we've changed from birth and stuff like that. Then I also did tapping, right? I didn't know. I remember once I was talking to my brother and I was like, now that I'm doing all this work, I didn't know I had so much like trauma. And he was like, Larissa, I knew. And I was like, oh, that's gold, man. So tapping really helped me to release things. Like sometimes we're so wrapped up in trauma that we're just not even aware of it. Like we just live our lives on this like repeat cycle of like doing certain things, saying certain things, reacting a certain way. And it wasn't until I started tapping that I could like get myself out. Like it's like you kind of like look at yourself like, oh, I see that's not healthy. That's not healthy. So tapping, talking to like I said, I talk to like spirit guides, but I talk to like everyone. I've talked to ascended masters, angels, ancestors. I've done a lot of work on my own, like I said, like tapping into my own team, into like I said, ancestors, whoever's around me, my spirit team, my higher self, Jesus, like ascended masters, like so everything that I've done for myself, because I was desperate for healing, for understanding. And I really dive deep into what feels good for me. And I'm just, one day it just clicked because I was talking to someone else. One day it just clicked that I think everything I was learning was not just for me, but also to help heal other people. And I think just like me, like I was so like ignorant that I didn't even know I needed healing until all of a sudden, like I just needed all the healing. So I'm just really grateful that I spent so much time trying to heal myself that I have all these tools that I can share with other people. And it all comes out like in the soul blueprint session, it all comes out talking to, spirit and ancestors, higher self, ascended masters, doing tarot oracle, going into the Akashic records, and even going into the Akashic Records has really transformed for me. Like I said, I used the book at first, and now I can just like set the intention, and I'm just there, you know? So that's awesome. I like that.
I was
Okay.
going to say that, you know, it's very often when we're going through, right, very, very deep and dark experiences that's when the that's when the light comes in.
Yes. Yep. I had no idea. I was just living life. Like, all right, I guess this is life. I always thought, you know, life is just supposed to be miserable, you know, like, and it's not. Like, I didn't know that until one day I just knew that, like, oh, this isn't normal. People aren't supposed to live like this.
And so, do you guide other people in learning how to read Akashic records, and where can they find their Akashic records? And we know that it's an energetic place, but you know, where could we find them?
So it's an energetic space, right? So on my YouTube channel, I do have like Akashic Records meditations. Like I said, I started with that Linda Howe book, like how to access the Akashic Record. But like I said, like once in those four intentions, excuse me, once you set the intention to go into the records, you're just in the records. You know, once you believe in yourself and you trust in yourself, you set the intention, you release expectations, and you're just there. So like I said, like I started with a book, but now I just kind of sit. I love like doing some water stuff. You know, water holds a lot of energy. So I'll like open up a bottle of water. I'll like talk into it, like, okay, like I am calm, I am centered, and I am ready. Like something like that, right? Just talk into the water, drink it, and then I just sit. I take my deep breaths and I just feel it. Like I am calm, I am centered, I am ready. I am accessing the Akashic record. And then once I'm ready, you know, I set the intention like I am now entering the Akashic records, and then I'm just there. And I'm a very visual person. So a lot of people say that the Akashic Records is a library, and I've never seen it as a library. So if you do, you know, kudos on you. I've always seen it as a movie theater, or, you know, like a real person theater, like a play theater. What do you call that? I don't know, a theater. So like I go in and there's like seats and I sit in the front row, and then either something will play like on the stage, or someone will sit in the front row and talk to me. So here's like another little layer, some more information about the Akashic Records. The records are run or are controlled, or what is the word? Like managed. I think that's a good one. They're managed by your masters, teachers, and loved ones. Okay. So whenever you go into the records, you're thinking of your masters and teachers and loved ones, the people who have helped you along your journey and helped you grow and helped you accomplish everything, right? But you also have a record keeper, right? So usually when I go into the records, if I'm not watching something on the stage, my record keeper will just sit right next to me and he'll just talk to me. It's a guy for me. I mean, for you, it can be whatever you want it to be. um, but I think the really important thing is to know that you work as you work, right? Just like I was saying earlier with the four intentions, you have to understand how you receive information. Like you have to understand, like, are you visual? Are you auditory? Um, are you a knower? Do you just know things? You know, you have to understand how you receive information, and you have to lean on that strength. And if other strengths show up on the way, you know, to develop, then that's great. Did I answer that question?
Yes, thank you. Um, so we have a lot of people who are, um, you know, joining now. If you just want to say who you know, who you are, just reintroduce yourself.
So I'm Larissa. I'm a soul guide. I'm here to help people transform their lives from misery to happiness. That was my own journey, like helping myself through misery. Like I was just, I mean, I was really, really low and down there, and I learned all these spiritual things because I don't know why it just started happening. And so, anyways, I'm here to use everything that I've learned to help other people who may or may not know that they live miserable lives to transform your life. So I lived I was a teacher in New York City, and I made, I mean, now looking back, I'm like, wow, I made pretty good money, but where was that money? Like, it was in New York, you know what I mean? Like, New York is so expensive. I make like less money now and I live a lot better. So what's my point with that? I don't know. But I was really miserable, and changing where I lived really helped. That's one of the things that really helped. But so I'm a soul guide and I give soul blueprint sessions so I can help you tap into your soul destiny, the reason why you are here, what you are meant to express and do and be and become in this life. And I use all of my spiritual gifts and my spiritual tools, everything I've learned and who I am, to help you understand your soul destiny, to help you understand your long-term steps as well as your immediate steps. Like if this is what you want, this is your goal, this is what you have to do right now. And I give you lots of like channeled guidance from your spirit team.
Okay, so I do have a question
Sorry, I
here.
just love that. And I think for me, one of the things I did, even though I've heard you speak before, I think the thing that I got the most is that you've been through these things, but you trusted the knowledge, the wisdom, the clarity that you got when you did these sessions, and that led you to where you are today, and that everything is you go with your passion or your mission, and that doesn't mean that it's a lifetime mission. It could be just a temporary mission.
Yeah.
The mission to move, the mission to get a new job, the mission to have a relationship, the mission to find new ways to make an abundance of happiness, love, money, or whatever it is that makes you feel joy. And so I now want to I now want a reading. Thank you.
Go for it, Adina.
Yeah, so I have a question here. Oh boy, now I've got to wait for it to load again. But basically, they were saying, wait, I think it was something about elders. Did you have an elder to guide you? Like, okay, you
um,
had the books, but did you have like an actual elder to guide you when you were learning?
do they mean like a real person or like a spirit person?
Uh,
Well, I
I
want to say
believe
I
a
had
real person
neither.
is comment to load again.
Okay, no worries. Well, whether it was a real person or a spirit person, I didn't have either one. But what's coming to mind right now is that when I first started getting into the Akashic Records and talking, I used to, in the beginning, I was talking to angels and I was doing the Akashic Records, and ascended masters started just coming through. Like I would talk to angels, and then like Jesus would like come forward and I'd be like, this is crazy, man, I don't know about this. But so it's like once you kind of open the door, it just kind of flies open, like if you're ready for it. Like I'm completely, and that's the thing also, like I don't want to turn this into like astrology, but like I'm a Pisces rising, so I'm a real big like daydreamer. I'm a real spacey, like, like la la la. But I also have a lot of Scorpio, and I like to like understand things like really, really deeply. And I think a lot of these kind of things have been like, not introduced, but like okay in my home. Oh, yeah, kind of. I remember my mom used to watch like Sylvia Brown, so it's like we've kind of had the door open. We've been accepting of, otherworldly things. And I remember in the beginning, like in 2020, I would tell my brother like everything that happened, like I talked to this angel today, you won't believe this, and he would listen and be like, wow, wow. So I think it's really helpful having people that you can kind of like soundboard on. Like I did this by myself and I was really passionate and interested in it, and I just like ran right into it. But it was really nice like having my brother or even my mom who were like, this is really interesting. Like nobody shut me down. No one was like, that's weird, that's crazy, can you please stop, this is scaring me or whatever. I just ran straight in, and the people that I did talk to were like, oh my God, that's crazy. And then, like as I did it more for myself, I was really excited to do it for other people. So I would like ask my sister and my brother, like, do you want a Akashic record reading? Do you want a message from an angel? Do you want a meditation? Like I was so excited. So I feel really excited by the work, that I do helping others.
Okay, so the comment loaded. um, Sorry if you already stated it, but other than starting with the book, did you have slash or work with an elder or spiritual mentor? And thank you. I wanted to learn more about this topic, so I'm glad to hear you speak tonight. And they mean a real physical person. That's the
Okay, no,
comment.
I didn't have anybody with me. But again, the thing that I want to bring up is that if you have a desire inside of yourself that is like, I really want this, or I want to know about that, you need to go explore it. So like I said, I have free meditations on YouTube. But there's lots, out there. I did read a few books. I read more than one because I also really like knowledge, like knowing how other people do things. And it's not until this, I wouldn't even say this year, like these past few months where I've really made it my own and I've transformed it. So I just, again, want to reiterate that if you're thinking of the tree of life, right? If, source or God or the goddess is the tree, we are all a part of that. Like we are a part of everything and you can do whatever you want. There are no limits, and also, I also talk about, you know, um, in media, there's a lot of messages that the divine or source or God, the goddess, they give to us, right? So if you ever think about like that movie Mean Girls, where she's at the competition, she's like, there are no limits. There is no limit. That is you. Like we don't have any limits. We can do anything we want, and any kind of block or anything that you think is in your way is only there because your mind thinks that it's in your way. You can move through anything. You can do anything. You can become anything. There are no limits. There are no blocks. You are infinite. You are divine. You have every single power of like the world inside of you. So if you're interested in the records, like go do it. You know what I mean? Like get a book if you feel called, or do like a online meditation if you want, or you know, just go for it.
Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for that confirmation. So yeah, a lot of people saying hello. Dee Savoy, Joycelyn, they're all saying
Hi.
hello and hello to you and hello to each other. Okay, so I'm trying to think, do I have any other questions? Prior to 2020, had you ever had any experience with Akashic Records? Had any awareness of them at all?
I don't think so. I don't think so. And I was thinking, I'm not even really sure how I found the records. All I know, yeah, I don't think I knew. But then it's like, was Sylvia Brown talking about the Akashic Records? I don't think so. So I'm not sure if I ever heard it before. I don't know what led me to it. All I know is I used to, in 2020, I was like dying and I was living on Etsy, giving all these people my money to give me like psychic readings and tarot and oracle readings. And then I just locked into that Akashic Records reading. And like I said, if you guys ever go on Etsy, her name is Nina. It's Akashic Astrology. Her readings are incredible. She tells you like your soul origin, your soul gifts, your soul powers. Like it's crazy. So, if anybody wrote that down, it's Akashic Astrology. That's where I started. And I also feel like when you start with someone who has so much information, it kind of opens your mind to what's available, like what you're able to do. And then you can break that limit and just go past it and, do so much more than that.
Okay, I loved you're saying that we are limitless. Like I always like to say, we are stardust. So thank you for that reminder, because this society will have you thinking that your purpose is to be on the hamster wheel and,
Yeah,
to just keep going and going and going and working and spending your money and paying your bills. So thank you for saying that reminder that we are divine and our presence is divine and our existence is
yeah,
divine. Thank you
yes,
for that. I think sometimes we definitely need to have that reminder that, like, you're limitless, because we all have those moments where we can get in the rut and stuck, and it's like you gotta have that reminder, like, wait a minute, I'm just passing through, you know.
exactly. Oh, that gave me chills. Yes, exactly.
Okay, is there anything else that you would like to share with everyone? Because there's definitely some viewers here. Is there anything else that you would like to share?
So if you go to my website, souldestinyguide.com, you'll see I have like an Akashic Records reading there. And I also have a guidebook. So if you go to the Soul Destiny series page, you can get it's a free guidebook of the 4 intentions and just explaining again, like what the Akashic Records are. And I think that's it.
And what are the four intentions?
Oh, I already said them, but I'll say them really, really quickly.
Yeah.
So again, before you go into the records, you have to be really clear on 4 things. You have to believe in yourself and the unfolding of the records. So if you don't trust yourself, like how are you going to trust the knowledge that comes through you? You have to trust in any information, like any, ANY, anything that comes through. So if you, like I said earlier, if you smell perfume, trust that's information that you're supposed to receive. If you see a bouncing ball and you're like, what is that? Trust that you're supposed to receive that. Also, quick note, I don't know, like for who, I don't know where people are on their spiritual journeys, but spirit does not communicate like in English or like in language, right? They communicate just like the only way they can communicate with us is through symbols, right? Through analogies. So if you're seeing a bouncing ball, right? Or if you're smelling something, you have to kind of open your mind and let that connection happen. Just like how I explained the tree of life, right? Like the tree is like source or God, and then the branches are souls, and then every leaf is your life, right? We're one life, right? They communicate through symbols because our language like really sucks. So if you are receiving information, you have to trust in what you're receiving because they don't speak English, okay? So anything you receive, you have to write it down and reflect on it, and then in time, you'll understand it. Okay, so believe in yourself, trust in the information, release expectations. So again, it might not be a conversation where you ask a question and then you get an answer. You just release expectations and know that you put it out there and it's going to come back to you. As long as your heart or your soul is open to receiving, it's going to come back to you. So just release expectations and know it's coming. And you have to have a clear intention, all right? Don't go into the records like with no intention. Like I said earlier, I like to write down my questions because once I say the records are open, my brain just goes blank because I'm just like, wow, this is beautiful, man. So have clear intentions.
So here's a question that's I guess kind of sparked also by the Rowena's question. When before you open the records, is there any kind of protection words that you say before you're doing any kind of work like that?
I'm really glad that this came up. We don't need protection. We just don't need it because, okay, if we go back to the tree of life, we are God, we are divine, we are everything. And once, so okay, if we think about like layers of an onion, right? I'll just keep saying that, I guess. Once you start moving up and like accessing these higher levels of like knowledge and stuff, you're like, oh gosh, I'm trying to like explain this. So there's all these, okay, if we think of negative energy, right? It's a low vibrational. We like, all right, I don't want to make this complicated. So this is really, really simplified, all right? But low vibrational energies are going, it's okay. Low vibrational energies are like down here and you're like up here, like you're in the records, you're accessing like information on your soul, and you don't need protection because you're moving up, and anything that's below you can't touch you because you're moving up. That is like the simplest information, and it's a lot deeper than that. But if you don't believe or trust in yourself, then you can't access the record. Like if you're going, oh, just like I said with the blocks, right? Any block that stands in your way only stands in your way because mentally you believe it's there, right? So if you are gonna believe that something negative can touch you, then you're creating it. So if you understand that you're moving up and nothing below you can touch you, then nothing will ever touch you. Nothing ever touches me. I am loved, I am protected, I have like spirits and God, and I have everything on my side, and nothing, just like you do, nothing can ever touch you. You don't need to call on protection because you are like the highest thing that ever existed.
Okay, thank you for that. Trying to see if we got some more. You got a couple more issues here. This conversation is really okay. So someone is inquiring how would they get to do a consultation with you, that they would really love to have one with you.
So if you go on my website, you can email me there, but my email is Larissa, Larissa, at souldestinyguide.com. So you can just go to the website, Soul Destiny Guide, and send me a message there. Or if you open your email, you can send an email to Larissa at souldestinyguide.com.
Destiny Guide, souldestinyguide.com. Okay, so people can, okay, souldestinyguide.com. Okay, that's for everyone watching. Okay. Got some clapping hand. GIFs here. So so I want to thank you. I was so glad that we were able to, to schedule this time. I think you've really got some people thinking, judging by the all the engagement that I have here. So I really appreciate you sharing your story. Like I always say, I believe stories heal and stories inspire, and they give hope, because you never know what someone is going through. So thank you for sharing your story and being a bright light for someone.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, so again, this has been Transformation Thursday, week 153, with Larissa Michelle, and I'll still say you're in New York, even though you're nowhere near New York
It's fine.
now.
I'm still a New Yorker at heart. It's okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I want to thank you for being here for Transformation Thursday. And again, the website is Soul Destiny Guide, souldestinyguide.com. You can reach her there. You can see her videos and find out more about the Akashic Records with her. So thank you everyone for watching this evening, for taking the time to check in. And like I always like to say in closing, let this be a reminder to you that if no one has told you, remember that you are a spark of the divine. And I'll see you next week, 7:15, 7:20. Just watch for the notifications that I'm live. Okay. And thank you,
Thank you
Olivia,
so
for
much.
joining us. Thank you. Okay,
It was
everyone have a
fabulous. And so just before we
yes, it
leave,
was.
because I know I
Mhm.
took a lot of time asking
No,
questions,
fine.
to get a meditation, just go to YouTube. And where do we go on YouTube to listen to one of them?
If you go to my website, there's an Akashic Records meditation on my website, souldestinyguide.com. And then also on the website, you'll find my YouTube page. So there's more meditations over there.
I'm going to listen right now. I appreciate everything. Thank you for putting this together.
Thank you so much. Good night, everybody.
Okay, good night, everyone. Thank you.